I've got some new land to share with you today. It's 6 acres on Lake Vermilion. This is waterfront, lakefront real estate up in northern Minnesota, outside the Duluth area in St. Louis County, Minnesota. My name's Miles McLaughlin here at Wilco Land. What I'm going to do is cover a lot of common questions. I'm going to talk about utilities, water, what other folks are doing on these type of properties. I'm going to roll through some photos that we have. And again, just kind of give you a bird's eye view of what we're selling here. This is our specialty. This is our focus, trying to find unique and epic land selections. What we own here is I own 2 adjacent 6-acre properties. So if you are interested in more land, I do have 12 adjacent acres. And then I own 2 other properties split by 1 legal owner. So in this video, I'm going to talk about 3 to 4 different lots that we own here at Wilco Land. These are all located on Hinsdale Island, which is a popular island. It's right next to Timbuktu Marina. Again, like I said, up on Lake Vermilion. This is waterfront real estate. This is as unique and epic as they come. We love selling properties like this here. And like I said, I'm going to cover a lot of common questions. And one big thing I'm going to talk about is how you access these properties and show you what other folks are doing on these land deals up here. There's a lot of people building off-grid cabins, using properties for recreation, camping, and just doing kind of little yurts, tiny homes, things like that. This is really affordable waterfront real estate in Minnesota. If you're okay driving across the ice in the winter or taking your boat out here in the summer months, you could even take a canoe and kayak. You're so close to the marina and the boat launch to get to this property. It's going to offer world-class fishing, world-class recreation, and a really fun, piece of land to own up in northern Minnesota. So when we're talking waterfront real estate, this is probably going to be some of the most affordable options you're going to have available to you in Minnesota, especially with how beautiful and popular that this lake is. So going to start my video with a quick disclaimer. This isn't legal advice. This isn't real estate advice. I'm simply sharing my thoughts and opinions with you from my own experience, my own due diligence in the industry. You as a buyer need to conduct your own due diligence and make sure this property is going to be the right fit for you. So that being said, I will cover utilities, and we have had septic evaluations done on these properties. Good news, they passed. So everything checks out for these to be buildable if you're interested in building, but we do have these properties priced for recreational land investments too. Like, you can just put a dock out here and have a really cool campsite. You can put a yurt up, build a tiny home, build a little shed to sleep in, a little sleeper cabin. It doesn't have to be a full blown, cabin, right? With all your utilities. So there are other options, especially at our price point. We really wanted to price these as, hey, recreational first. And yes, you can develop on islands in Minnesota. There is a possibility. And I'll talk through that process throughout the video when we get into talking about utilities. But first, I want to roll through some of these photos and just talk about this 6 acres particularly. All of the properties we have actually back up to state land. So this is all going to be state land behind the property. So we own all 4 of these individual lots. Somebody's built a cabin between them. You can see that right there. And this is the one that's on the website right now. And we own the adjacent 6 acres. So your friends and family might be interested in more lands. Who wouldn't want to be neighbors with their friends and their family, right? So we do own each of these individual lots. They're both not listed. I only have one of them listed. So keep that in mind. If you are interested in more acreage, we can sell 12 total acres, and you would have 2 legal entities. So theoretically, you could build 2 cabins on them. So there's that. That's that. So this is the one we have on the website. This is the one next door. Both of these are available. I sold this one right away. We had a buyer waiting for this one. It is a pretty active market up there. And like I said, we are going to be some of the best prices you'll see on Lake Vermilion. Why? We're in the business of moving land fast. That's our model. That's what we have to do. How do you sell land fast? You got to have a great deal. And we do want to create affordability in these land deals. So people can just use them for recreation, put a dock out there, bring a boat out there, have a cool campground, put some yurts up, invest in some tiny homes. You'd be surprised the type of products you can actually find on the internet, just little tiny homes, little off-grid earth type structures. So this property is pending a sale right here, and this property is available next door to it. Okay. And like I said, somebody's, developed on this one in between all 4 of these lots. So we don't have that. And, just kind of jumping off topic, but look at people are building cabins, all along the shoreline on Hinsdale Island. Look at that. There's cabin after cabin. So, these are pretty big spreads too. They have power on Hinsdale Island. I think you have to go through DNR. I don't know all the details, but you do have to go through DNR to get like permits or something to pull power to these properties. Obviously, with a cabin right here, this person could be on a generator. They could be using solar. They could be off grid. I don't know. I haven't personally been out to these properties, but they've been able to develop in the last few years on that property. That wasn't sold too long ago. And again, here's some more docks, right, with boats and stuff. And you can see these cabins from satellite imagery. It's unbelievable what you can learn about a property from satellite imagery, isn't it? Just understanding whether people are doing all along the shoreline, people have put docks in and built homes. So like I said, who is the target audience for properties like this? People that want to build a cabin on an island in Minnesota, that want to be on Lake Vermilion. And even if you're not ready to build a cabin right now, clear some trees, clear some brush, and create a really cool campsite. And you've got a really fun place to spend the weekends up here in northern Minnesota. Put a dock in. You can spend the winters, you can spend the summers here. They actually have a whole or at least somebody told me this. I can't confirm it, but they have a whole road system up here on the ice for winter access. So you can drive out here during the winter. When we sell land in Alaska, a lot of people actually bring building materials out during the winter months, just because the ice is dead frozen like that. I do have some contact for barges out there, water, septic, things like that, if you're interested in getting those contacts from us. So jumping into talking about access, I'll talk about water. I'll talk about septic at the end of this video. So if you're interested in building, if you want to see those septic results, I do have it all documented on the website, first and foremost, for people to look at right here in this folder. There's survey documents and there's septic evaluation and all that good stuff, right? Like I said, these passed for a septic system. 3-bedroom homes is what was recommended here. Okay. So we'll get into this more and you can read through that more on your own at the end of the video. And then again, we have survey maps. This land was surveyed back in the 2000s at some point. Again, I don't want to waste too much time in this video talking about it, but there is a land survey for these properties. So the properties should be marked. Here's another survey map too. They all should be marked out there. And again, here's all the septic results right here. Okay, so for all the lots that we have for sale, they tested 2 sites on each property for 2 basically building sites. So just wanted to share that quick before we get into too much. Again, I want to talk about that marina. This is going to be your access point. This is Timbuktu Marina. This is where anybody who's got an island lot out here, or there's a couple access points on Lake Vermilion, but specifically for this property, this is probably the closest marina. I think there's another one close by, but this is the one I identified that you'd access your property in. And it's really, look how short of a boat ride that is over to these properties. Like I said, you could get on a kayak or even a paddleboard if you're good at that and get out to these properties. So like I said, a lot of people have built on these. I think this side might have road access. I'm not sure. It's hard to tell. But yeah, I mean, it's everywhere. Look at all these cabins that are on the island. So people do develop all around this island. Here's another one. So we know that's possible, and we know it's possible just to use for recreational use, because guess what? Behind the property, there are these campgrounds, right? So people are coming out here and using these campgrounds as well on Hinsdale Island. I'll show you guys what that looks like on Onyx Maps. This is one of my favorite apps for land viewings. You can see all the property behind it. It's 131 acres of state forest. And then to the west of that is going to be private ownership. And then here's the campground down here. And here's some more campsites too. So Hinsdale Island is a really well-known island on Lake Vermilion. And the Oak Narrows is where our property is located. So you're not going to have, on those windy days, you're going to have pretty calm waters accessing your property most time. So, and then here you've got the Lake Vermilion Oak Narrows access site. Again, extremely close to these properties that I'm circling right here. And like I said at the beginning of this video, I love listing property like this. It's so much fun to own, to see property like this. Again, here's all the properties that we own shared here. Tract A is pending a sale. Like I said, that went really quick. Tract B, Tract D, and Tract E are available. This would give you 12 acres if you wanted to own it. This is 6-something acres. Okay. So that's what that looks like. And again, I do have a video of the property for those of you that might be buying sight unseen. There's so many resources available, to learn about these properties and to understand them. This is a really good, video showing our properties. So that boat sitting in the water in front of it was our photographer with their drone. So you can see there's a lot of high ground on these properties. Again, we'll go into the septic reports. This was from the previous owner, actually, all the septic reports, but we were able to dig it up and find that. So yeah, this is Lake Vermilion. If you're interested in a family, kind of a legacy asset like this, it would check the boxes for me. It's as cool as they come. I'll show you guys the market at the end of this video. We'll get on Zillow and look at the market. Like I said, we're in the business of providing some of the best deals out there. And if you guys do want to work with a realtor, this is Christy Gilman. She lists our properties up in northern Minnesota. So you're welcome to reach out to us or Christy with any questions here. And again, at the end of the video, we'll talk about these Zillow listings and show you where we're priced compared to other ones. But before we do that, I will go through, just quickly glance at this. So it's 3-bedroom sites per lot. And they had tested all the properties, including the previous owner actually owned this property and must have sold it to somebody back in the day. And they'd gotten a survey, and they had these like 2 septic sites or 2 building sites tested for septic systems back in 2013. You can see that date there. And then just for each of the 5 proposed lots, we own 4 of them. 1 of them had previously sold before we got in touch with this seller. 2 separate analyses to confirm that each lot has 2 possible sites for a 3-bedroom septic system. All the proposed lots would have 2 standard septic sites attached to the soil analysis worksheets. And more details. I'll let you guys read through this at the end, but this is a full document here. I've got this whole folder shared with you guys. If you go into the listing and you click down here, let's see, the property documents, that's going to lead you to this. And we've got the septic evaluation summary. We've got the survey, and here's a survey too. And then here's 2 of the sites that they tested on those 2 western lots right there. The eastern lots are over here that aren't in this photo. So that's what we're looking at there. I'm giving you a bird's eye view of where we're at on a map. This is Duluth, Minnesota. This is up in Lake Vermilion. All I'm doing is plugging the GPS coordinates from our listing into Google Maps like this. And it's pulling it right up, right? Again, here's Timbuktu Marina. That gets you right over there. Timbuktu Marina has a great website. If you want to go view this, you could rent a boat if you wanted to go look at these properties. And again, I've got some contacts who have barges out there, who do septic, who do water, things like that. When it comes to getting water on these properties, people are either putting in, they'll do holding tanks. Some people have dry cabins. And then, people are doing composting toilets, things like that, or they're doing septic systems like we talked about. Like you said, there's actually a lot of development on these islands, surprisingly enough, and all the local folks up there know how that process works. There is kind of a water treatment system that people are using too. I think I share some of this in the notes. So again, I think you got to go through DNR to get power to your property. If anything, you could use a generator or solar. We're going into the 21st century, guys. We're in it. Technology is changing the way we can develop on properties. I want to put that out there. The future of land is really, really promising. Technology is going to allow us to do so much more with these properties than we've ever been able to in the past. Water is going to be by well or a lake treatment system. So it's my understanding a lot of people have these lake treatment systems where they pull lake water and they treat it. So I don't really know how that works, but again, I've got some contacts up there that I can get people in touch with if they're interested in developing. And if you're looking at this listing, you might actually already know people up here and know more about it than I do. Sewer would be via septic. Like I said, the septic designs are right there. Camping is going to be allowed, things like that. So keep that in mind. Trying to think if I'm missing anything. Let's talk about the comparable sales. Like I said, I've got this on Zillow and it's a super popular listing. We've already got 50 saves in 12 days. So it's going to be, like I said, it's extremely popular. Why? The price. There's $1 million 20-acre property on Hinsdale Island. I mean, is that overpriced? Probably. But that's kind of where people value it. Here's a 6-acre for $600,000. South facing, again, is that overvalued? I definitely think so. Maybe there's road access to it or something. Let's try to find some other, and I have a waterfront filter in here. Here's 7 acres for 193. So this looks like an island too, a third of an acre, maybe. We can kind of look at this and see what this is all about. I don't know. You'd have to dig into some of these listings to see. This looks like an island. Maybe this is a road or maybe it's power lines. I'm just not sure. It's hard to tell. It kind of seems like it's an island, but I mean, that's a third of an acre. Not that desirable of a property for $65,000, So just kind of browsing around this lake, these are definitely island properties. This is North Pine Island. They're selling, I guess, these lots down here on North Pine for 140, right? So I think a lot of people are looking for north of 100 on their properties up here. And like I said, we wanted to really make this attainable for people, even to use for recreation, 125. So we're all the way down at $90,000 to these listings. We're in the business of moving lands. We own 3 lots up there. we're open to offers. We're open to even doing seller financing with somebody if you're interested in that. So just get with us if you have questions. You can reach us here anytime. Give our team a call at 605-299-5553. I appreciate you tuning in. Our goal is to create visibility to these land assets and create, an affordable marketplace for people to buy lands. And unique, epic properties like this is definitely one of our specialties. You can browse the website. I've got more listings in Minnesota. We've actually got them all over the United States, Montana, Idaho, Utah, South Dakota, places like that, Wyoming. So thanks for tuning in and appreciate you watching this video.